Welcome to the Petersen House, a typical Washington, D.C. boarding house until that fateful night of April 14, 1865, when the mortally wounded President Lincoln was carried to a back bedroom in this house. Please listen to this presentation before entering the building. There is no cost to tour inside the house, but you must obtain a timed entry pass if you want to enter. The Petersen House was the home of William and Anna Petersen. It was your typical Washington, D.C. boarding house that catered to businessmen traveling to meet with a growing federal government. After President Abraham Lincoln was shot across the street at Ford's Theater, there was a lot of chaos in the streets, and crowds were gathering to learn the fate of the president. A police captain was clearing the street to make way for the mortally wounded president when a boarder by the name of Henry Safford went to the front steps and shouted to bring him in here. Lincoln was carried to the back of the Petersen House and placed in a bed that was small for his 6'4" body, so they laid him diagonally. Throughout the night, physicians, officials, and friends totaling over 90 people visited the dying Lincoln, while military guards patrolled the streets to prevent crowds from entering the Petersen House. While physicians tended to Lincoln's wounds to remove blood clots and excess brain fluids, a hysterically sobbing Mrs. Lincoln sat in the bedroom next door. The president's eldest son, Captain Robert Lincoln, stood at the head of the bed, weeping on the shoulder of Senator Charles Sumner. It was written that throughout the night, the utmost silence pervaded, broken only by the sounds of strong men's tears. President Lincoln died that next morning at 7:22 a.m., April 15, 1865, at the age of 56. A grieving Mary Lincoln in an adjoining room is heard weeping, "Oh my God, and have I given my husband to die?" "Now he belongs to the ages," said Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. Ironically, a month before the assassination, John Wilkes Booth was visiting a friend who was boarding at the Petersen House and fell asleep on the very same bed on which President Lincoln later died. William and Anna Petersen died in 1871. Their furniture was sold at auction, including the bed that Lincoln died in that dreadful day, selling for $80. The U.S. government bought the house in 1896 for $30,000 and maintained it as a historical museum by the National Park Service since 1933. Lincoln's deathbed was inherited and then sold to a collector whose estate would end up being purchased by the Chicago History Museum, where Lincoln's deathbed can be seen today. This concludes our presentation of the Petersen House. You can enter this national landmark with a timed ticket which must be obtained in advance. Want directions to the next stop on the tour? Simply select that landmark listed to the side of the map display and choose the directions option.